Hey guys, so today we're going to do 2.1 functions, day 2. The learning goals are to know how to simplify difference quotients. So just a recap of yesterday, we talked about the difference quotient. We also talked about x plus h being the x value and where to substitute that in. So I'm not going to go through the first two examples because we went and talked about them yesterday. So for example 3, it says find the difference quotient of f of x. Remember, your difference equation is always f of x plus h minus f of x over h. So let's talk about this. Everywhere that we see an x, we're going to do the first one. Everywhere we see an x, we're going to put x plus h. So I have 2 times x plus h squared minus 5 times x plus h plus 3. That takes care of the first part. The second part, which is just putting the equation of f of x. So minus, don't forget your parentheses, 2x squared minus 5x plus 3. And then the last part is just dividing all of this by h. So first we're going to go ahead and do some distributive property information and some factoring. So right here in this area with this x plus h squared, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it as 2 times x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. So at this moment, we use the FOILing method. Minus, I'm going to go ahead and distribute my 5. So minus 5x minus 5h plus 3. I'm going to go ahead and distribute this negative into each part. So I'll get minus 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 all over h. Then I'm going to go ahead and distribute this 2 to each part. So I'll get 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared minus 5x minus 5h plus 3 minus 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 all over h. As I look at this, I want to see what can I start to cancel. So I can go ahead and get rid of this 2x squared and this minus 2x squared. Those cancel. If I look at 4xh, I don't have anything with xh in it, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 4xh. Then I look at the 2h squared. I don't have anything that deals with h squared, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down. Then I'm going to look at negative 5x. I also have a positive 5x, so those cancel. I'm going to look at negative 5h, so I'm left with just 5h. And then I'm going to look at the positive 3, and it has negative 3 here, so those cancel as well. And then I'm just left with it over h. So when I look at the numerator at the top here, the GCF between all three of these terms on the numerator is h. So I'm going to go ahead and factor out an h here. So I'm left over with just 4x plus 2h minus 5 all over h. Well, these h's can cancel, and I'm left with 4x plus 2h minus 5. And that is my simplified version of the difference quotient. Right, so let's look at this one. Example 4 says to use a difference quotient to find this function. So again, our difference quotient is fx plus h minus f of x over h. So again, the first step, do your f of x plus h. So you get 7 over 3 times x plus h plus 6 minus my f of x, which is 7 over 3x plus 6 all over part 3, which is h. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this entire thing here. I can kind of get rid of these parentheses because I'm going to be subtracting regardless this entire fraction. So the first thing I want to look for is what is my LCD going to be? So your LCD in our case, is going to be everything that's on our denominator for this first part. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute first to find out what exactly my LCD could be. So I get 7 over 3x plus 3h plus 6 minus 7 over 3x plus 6 all over h. So my LCD for this problem would be everything that's in my denominator. I'd have 3x plus 6 as one part of my LCD, and I'd also have 3x plus 3h plus 6 as my LCD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the entire thing, the top, by 3x plus 6 and 3x plus 3h plus 6. And I'm also going to do that to my denominator. So it'll get multiplied by 3x plus 6 times 3x plus 3h plus 6. So that everything gets multiplied by its LCD. But when I do this, I ultimately get to cancel everything. So when I look at 3x plus 3h plus 6, I can cancel this one and the denominator, and I'm left with 7 times 3x plus 6 minus, then I look at the second 7 over 3x plus 6, I get to cancel the longer one with 3 terms. Or sorry, I get to cancel the shorter one with 2 terms, 3x plus 6. And I'm left with negative 7 times 3x plus 3h plus 6. And then for my denominator, I have everything in terms of my denominator. So I get h, sorry, my pen's not working, h times 3x plus 6 times 3x plus 3h plus 6. So looking at this, I can kind of do some extra work here. So I can distribute. I get 21x plus, I get 21x plus 42 minus, this is a 3, so minus 21x minus 21h minus 42 all over my denominator. H times 3x plus 6 times 3x plus 3h plus 6. All right, so then I want to look at my numerator. Are there things I can cancel? Absolutely. 21x and negative 21x, and then 42 and 42. And then I'm left with negative 21 over, 21h, over h times 3x plus 6 times 3x plus 3h plus 6. And I can cancel the h's, and I'm just left with my final answer as negative 21 over 3x plus 6 times 3x plus 3h plus 6. All right, example 5. The rational expression, again, we're going to use f of x plus h minus f of x over h. So first part, again, there, second is there, and third is here. So I'm going to rewrite this substituting x plus h first. So I get the square root of 2 times x plus h plus 5. Minus, in parentheses, I'm going to have the square root of 2x plus 5 all over h. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of the numerator. So I have the square root of 2x plus 2h plus 5 minus the square root of 2x plus 5. So what I'm going to do here after it's all over h I'm going to take the radical, I'm going to try to rationalize it and get rid of some things in my numerator. I'm rationalizing the numerator, which means I'm going to multiply the numerator by the opposite of my sign, which is a negative. So I'm going to multiply it by 2x plus 2h plus 5 plus the square root of 2x plus 5. So I'm going to do this on both the top and the bottom of my fraction. 2x plus 2h plus 5 plus 2x plus 5. I'm doing this so that then I can get rid of my radical signs in my numerator. So if I were to actually FOIL this information, I would get this times this, which means I ultimately would get squared, something squared. So I get 2x plus 2h plus 5, because those radical symbols will cancel out. And then if I did the inside one, so if I FOIL the second part, I would get those two the ones in the middle to cancel out, because these signs are all opposites. So if I look at this and my plus sign, those are considered opposites, so the difference of two squares actually can be applied here. So I'm going to look at that, meaning that the inside portions will cancel if I FOIL. If I FOIL the last two portions, I'll get a negative 2x plus 5. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have parentheses around those. All over h times the square root of 2x plus 2h plus 5 plus the square root of 2x plus 5. Now from here, I can take care of my numerator, and that's kind of all I care about when it comes to my answer. So I'm going to do all the math behind it. 2x plus 2h plus 5 minus 2x minus 5 all over h times the square root of 2x plus 2h plus 5 plus the square root of 2x plus 5. Go ahead and cancel on the top what can be canceled, and you see what you're left with. You're left with 2h over h times the square root of 2x plus 2h plus 5 plus the square root of 2x plus 5. You can cancel your h's, so your final solution would be 2 over the square root of 2x plus 2h plus 5 plus the square root of 2x plus 5. So with this type of example, always remember to rationalize the numerator. All right, that's everything that I have for you all. If you have any questions, please text me or ask me after school. Have a great weekend.